Hi, I'm Aaron with Saddlepoint Systems, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own custom image strip for the Fastback Tape binding system using Microsoft Word. And if you're not familiar with image strips, they are these blank strips that are adhered to this sheet of paper by some light glue, and you run them through an inkjet printer, and when you get the finished result, they look something like this. And the really great thing about them is that they can create books that are just really beautiful, really strong binds, and you can pretty much put any type of information on there that you want in any direction and orientation that you want it. You've got logos, you've got pictures, text box, any kind of color, any kind of shape. It's just a really nice look, and you can even put information on the back of your book and kind of hide some contact information, maybe your website. And in this video, we're going to stick to the basics and just show you how to make a book something like this. And hopefully you'll learn some things, and in the future we'll be producing a few other videos with more advanced techniques. But for now, we'll stick to the basic shapes and colors. And if you are interested in design or us printing the strips for you, you're welcome to give us a call and ask for me directly. My name is Aaron, again. Our toll-free number is 855-880-7500, or you can email me at aaron@saddlepointsystems.com. But let's get to the design aspect of the video. Okay, so before we design our image strips, I'm going to show you how to find a template for Microsoft Word to design them on. So go ahead and open a web browser, and we're going to go to the Saddlepoint Systems website. And under the Resources tab, you want to click on Image Blank Custom Printing. And in addition to our pricing for printing the strips for you, we've got a bunch of nice templates for the Model 20 and the Model 9, including a PDF, Photoshop, and today we're going to be working with the Word document templates. So there are two for the Model 20, the front wrap and the even wrap, and then for the Model 9 there's only the front wrap. And I'll just go ahead and click that and download it and open it up to see how it looks. It looks good. And so this would be the front wrap area. And then the even wrap, this would be more for spine printing, and we will be making a video in the future showing you how to put text right on the spine to get a nice spine printed book. But we're going to focus on the front wrap today. So if you have a Model 9, go ahead and open that template. And you can see that the strips have been shifted to the left side, but the concepts in the video are going to be basically the same. This is the front of the book, and this is going to be the back of the book. So I'll go ahead and close this out, and I think we can start designing. Okay, so let's begin by opening Microsoft Word, and we'll open up our image strip template. And this is the Max front wrap template, meaning it's designed to have the strip wrap to the front cover as much as the machine is able to bind it to it. So from this gray line to this black line is the space that you're going to see on the front cover of the book. And from this gray line to this part is going to be the spine and what's on the back of the book. And then these red lines are actually gutters for additional bleed so that the print doesn't miss the strip. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start designing it. I'm going to put the background in first by going to Insert and Shapes, and then there's this nifty cool tool called the Freeform tool, and that allows me to kind of make anchor points, kind of like connect the dots by clicking where I want the line to go. And if I hold Shift while I'm dragging my mouse, it has 15-degree increments that it snaps my line to. So I'm going to hold Shift and make a straight line, drag it up to the very top of the strip with the gutter, and click. And I'm going to pull that to a place where I think looks good. Click again, And now I'm going to do my last little line to seal in the shape. And I click and I click. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks, and I've got a nice little trapezoid shape that fits well within the boundaries that I need. But I don't want it to be white, and I don't want this black line around it. So I'm going to right click onto my shape, and I'm going to format it. And the fill, I'm going to make it a color, let's see, something on the purple side. Maybe something like that. But it still has this black line, so I'm going to actually go back to the format, and under the line option, I'm going to say no color, and that'll get rid of that black perimeter. So it's just a nice clean look. And next, I'm going to go ahead and put an accent line on top of the strip, this trapezoid, I mean. So what I'm going to do is insert a rectangle, and it's going to be a nice thin rectangle that just rides the edge of the strip. Looks something like that. Looks pretty good. Again, it's got that perimeter and the white, so I'm going to change this again. Let's pick a green that might look nice. Let's go to the custom zone. Let's see. That looks reasonably nice. And I'm going to change the color of the perimeter again to no color so that I don't see that black line. And then I've got this green box. So now I'm going to do one other thing to kind of break up the purple and the green. I'm going to put a thin white line right between them that just, it kind of adds a nice little effect when you're binding it, your book. So let's go ahead. We're going to insert shape, and we're going to click the line tool. And I'm just going to start from one point of the strip and work my way to the other. And as you can see, it's black right now, but we can go in, we could change that to white under the line option. And I'm going to increase the weight to about 1.25. See how that looks. Looks pretty good to me. We could make it thicker if we wanted to, but too thick and it kind of starts to not look as good. So I'll call that done for now. And we'll move on to inserting our logo. So find my files where I've got everything that I want. Here's a nice landscape logo. As you can see, the image is showing up behind these template layers. So in order to bring it to the front, I can go to this position tool under the format options, and pretty much any one of these options will send it to the front. I know I'm going to bring it down, so I just chose this right bottom, but you could choose any one of them. And then I'm going to just go ahead and shrink it. If you had a specific height or width that you wanted, you could go and right click and actually format and go to the size, and you could put an absolute value in. So if you know that you want the height at 0.4 inches, just lock the aspect ratio, and that'll shrink it down. And that looks pretty good, so I'll go ahead and keep that. So I've got my logo, and I'm just eyeballing this space right here. If you wanted to have a more accurate, perfectly centered logo, you might use a ruler on the screen or refer to these rulers up here. But this looks pretty good to me. I can just use the arrow keys to nudge it in whatever direction I want if I don't want to drag it with the mouse. So I've got my logo. Now I'm going to insert an image right here and maybe put a text box. So let's go ahead, find my image. Here's the Fastback binder, and you can see it's a PNG image, which means that it's got a transparent background, so it'll just show up with the purple. So I'm going to change the position again to bring it above, and I'm going to shrink it. And what I'm going to do is line it up with this logo so that it's kind of in line and not in a weird position. So that looks pretty close. And then what I can do is by holding shift, I can drag this and it snaps into a straight line without me having to move my hand perfectly straight. So that's nice. And there's our little Fastback tape binder, and now I'm going to insert a text box. It can be just the simplest text box. Okay, I've got my little blurb, and I'm just going to change the font to something that's a little more attractive, and maybe shrink it a little bit, change the color to white since it's going to be on a purple background. And I'll drag it down. Oop, don't drag other layers. Be careful where you're clicking. As you just saw, you can just drag the whole screen. And my white text isn't showing up because it's on a white background. So in the same way that I changed the shapes, I'm going to change this text box. And I'm going to go to the color and lines section under the format text box. Change the fill to no color. And change the line to no color. So it's just a transparent box. And there's my white text, exactly what I want. And this text is a little squished together, so I'm gonna expand it. This is a little bit of an advanced option, but I'll show you that real quick. You right click, you go to font, you go to advanced, and then under spacing, let's just increase it by about 0.5. Let's see how that looks. It looks a little nicer. It's not quite as squished together. And then again, I want to center it as best as I can. I'm going to center it right here with the document finishing solutions and let this text kind of be on the same line there. So that looks pretty good. And I'll just go ahead and shift it back over. And now, just to add a few more things, I'm going to put an address and our website right on the back. And we're going to be pretty much done with this image strip. So let's do it. Insert, we're going to do another text box actually. And this is going to be our address. We'll put our stretch it out a little bit more in case I run out of room. And again, I'm going to change the color to something that I want. I can do that actually right here. And here's the color that I already had picked, so that's nice. I can just use that same color. Change it to Montserrat. I'll shrink it a little bit. And let's take away this black line around the text box. So I'm going to say no color again. No color for the fill. So that's just a transparent box. And I can drag it down right there. And I can shrink this box a little bit so it's not extending off of the strip. That looks pretty good. So now I can copy this. And I'm going to deselect the box before I paste it. So let's go ahead and right click, copy, deselect, right click, picture. Oh, that's not what I wanted to copy. Let's try this one more time. I'm selecting the text box, and then I'm going to right click. I see. That's not good. Let's go to File. Nope. Oh, there it is. It's right there. Copy. And then we're going to deselect, and then here's paste. That's what I want. Okay. So I'm going to line up this text, and then I can change it to white so that it shows up on this background. And then I'll go ahead and hold shift to drag it without it losing the straight line that it's lined up on. And I'll just use my arrow keys to shift it a little bit more. And then I can change what the actual text says to our website. And that is our image strip. Pretty simple. There are definitely more advanced things that we can do, but just as a start, this kind of shows you that all the shapes, the images, the text box power, the logo, and kind of gives you the feel for how to design it so that it prints nicely. So what's left to do, let me just shrink this text box a little bit, maybe shift it a little further over. Now, I want to replicate what's on this strip on these two right here. And that's pretty easy. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and what I'm going to do is when I'm clicking on each object, I'm going to hold the shift button. So I'm holding shift right now, and I'm going to select my green box, select my white line, my background, and all my text box that I've made, my logo, and I can let go of the shift button if I need to scroll, and then hold it again before I click my mouse, and then I'm going to select my last image, and I'm going to copy right now what I've selected by going to the home and copy, and then if all goes according to plan, it should just paste as one big element. So I'll zoom out so you can see that, and I'll paste, and there it is. And you can drag it all as one object, which is nice. And I'm going to go ahead and put that down right there. And then what I can do, since all of these objects are already selected to the clipboard, is I can just paste again without having to do anything else. And I drag that second paste up, and I align it to my template using the arrow keys. And then this is pretty much done. The only thing left is to delete these template lines behind the design. So what I can do is zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to select this one. And using the same trick that we just went over with holding shift, I can scroll down and select all three at the same time. So there's one, there's two, and then here's three. So all three of the template lines are selected, and I'm just going to press delete on my keyboard, and there they go. And this is ready for printing. So I'm going to save it, and let's see, find a good place to save it real quick. And from there, I would be able to print everything in my inkjet printer and start binding. So hopefully this has been helpful, and we'll definitely be making other videos to show you different techniques and more advanced settings that you can use to kind of do some more interesting stuff. But in the meantime, hopefully this will get you started, and happy binding, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you soon.